Once upon a time, I decided to purchase State of Decay 2, the Juggernaut Edition, and I deemed it appropriate to give you an authentic and accurate review based on my first playthrough on the borderline sadistic difficulty mode, the Nightmare Zone, with only 6 hours of prior gameplay of the game, which I spent half a year ago on the Xbox Live Game Pass. So I advise you to sit down and calmly poke your cock, gamer. What I'm about to show you will not blow your mind, but for a moderate sum of 1 like and 1 subscribe, I might blow you. And without further ado, let's celebrate and naturally suck some dick. Alright, I picked 3 of our starting survivors. Garrett, the only male in our group. He's a handy and handsome boy, a former ISIS soldier who has now dedicated his life into building toy trains and ripping fat and gnarly kickflips. Christine, a dummy-thick everyday subhuman, loves riding bikes, long walks on the beach, good wine and traveling. You can find her on Tinder and on the used car sales magazine. Fuzzy, a battle-hardened cheerleading mascot who's had more cum shots in her face at the school's locker room than the Paul brothers combined. She then performed various experiments with the bulge baby batter and ultimately became a goddess in the arts of medicine. I have a good feeling about this team. Let's fucking go! Loading into the game with coffee mug and ball sacks full, I was expecting this to be just a regular walk in the park. As a World of StarCraft 2 warrior veteran, I'm used to our coming challenges, which were meant for conniving cute little Korean boys. What I was not expecting was the game throwing a feral zombie into me right off the bat. And if you don't know what a feral zombie is, well, it's pretty much your average 40-year-old woman in the bar who's had 1 too many drinks and divorces and is now craving for the nectar of the younger generations. That's a feral zombie, but on steroids. Now I could tell you about State of Decay 2, but that is not how we do things around here. We don't review games by what they offer in the gameplay department, but by how much porn there is available on the subject. And based on that, I will give State of Decay 2 a solid 0 out of 10. When in my raging sadistic homo lust I went and scavenged the internet for some SOD zombie banging, I was met with mild disappointment. But anyway, after performing satisfying finishers, we'll claim a home for our misfit community of 3. We're on the hunt for additional secluded squish mittens for our boy Garrett. Sure, we already had 2, but our man was hungry and wouldn't settle for minimalistic moisturizer choices during the outbreak. And who could blame him? It's a stressful life out here. And the only thing which keeps his PTSDs on bay are his toy trains, which he now has none, so we must be swift on our feet to satisfy his hunger. First we will get some fuel for our car, execute some poor life choices, but ultimately perform quality gamer moves to rise and conquer. Then we drive the car to loot nearby locations. Then we regret ever being born into this world. Then we drive the car again, and then a zombie drives our car. Then our talented and tender train master resorts into his past life's interrogation techniques and ultimately lives to see another day. And as the nighttime rolls by, it's no longer happy fun fuck go times. If you hadn't before, this will definitely be the point where in addition of fighting zombies, you'll also fight the game's controls. You could argue that I just suck at the game, but as a true gamer, I will never admit to such allegations and choose to blame the game instead and the poor parenting I was exposed to. Personally, I have a mixed and complicated relationship with the game. Whenever I boot up the game, I'm immediately immersed in the world and love the snail-paced approach I have to take in the exploration. But after an hour or 2, I start to get impatient and the game starts to feel like an absolute chore to play. Then I quit my play session, have a brief conversation with my therapist who advises me to refund the game, and after I tell him for the 5th time that he is not real and just a figment of my immature imagination, I immediately start to crave more of the undead survival sandbox gameplay and and start the cycle all over. Keep in mind, the difficulty level I chose is highly unforgiving and is only meant for people who have been gently touched by the endearing angel of elite autism. The game in its normal difficulty and the dread zone difficulty is actually super fun, but don't get me wrong, the nightmare zone is also fun if your definition of fun is shoving premature children up into your asshole. I don't know why I used that metaphor, I actually love the nightmare zone. Don't connect the dots. After surviving, scavenging and thriving for a while, we receive a distress call from our neighbors. For you see, there's a game mechanic which involves a plague which your characters can catch. But the plague can be cured. The cure, however, requires plague samples. Naturally, you can obtain plague samples by destroying plague hearts. Contrary to the popular belief, I am not an complete idiot. I knew taking on a building with plague heart would be a suicide at this point of the game, but I also hate to see tasks unfinished in my gamer vision. You can also obtain plague samples by killing plagued zombies, but the drop rates are pretty abysmal unless you had more wisdom than I did and did some research about the game beforehand. At this point, I didn't know that killing the plague boys with crossbows increased the chance of them dropping the samples. So naturally, I went on a hunting trip and thought I would be completely fine by only using my primal animalistic executions. And well, I was completely fine until I aggroed a fucking feral. At this point I was tired of running away each time things didn't go my way, so I deemed it totally okay to try and take on the feral beast one-on-one. Needless to say, I was greeted with a terrible and gruesome fate. This is a good point to mention that death is absolutely permanent. Learning from my mistakes, I knew better now to not overstep my boundaries and proceed to play the game by using the immersive and immaculate pussy approach. Except at this point, the caffeine was starting to kick in and I was ready to play like an hero. Switching back to our Train Master 5000, I embarked into a cringy role-playing journey where I would make him the hero who would avenge the death of one of his cockbuckets. I soon found out that the feral bastards weren't good at climbing. I also found out that I had no bullets. Then, as I tried to execute some sick hit and run maneuvers, I found out that the game's movement system is at times mildly frustrating. Two out of three of my characters were now dead. My morale was hitting rock bottom. Were the deaths totally my fault? No. Were the deaths caused by the broken mechanics which I just couldn't master? Absolutely not. Were the demises of our two champions caused by our endearing neighbors who asked for our help? Absolutely yes. Am I mad? Do I blame them? No. You have to break a few eggs to make an omelette. But does our one remaining character, the baby batter master chef, the absolute terror of locker rooms, the woman who has swallowed so much semen that it's a miracle she hasn't drowned yet, only to be now left alone in this cruel zombie-infested world, blame them? Absolutely. Engage cringy roleplay mode.
Fuck! All of you motherfuckers will pay for the loss of my two comrades. They didn't even have enough time in their lives to get me proper firepower to express my rage. Fuck!
I guess we'll have to improvise.
Knock knock, who's there? Fucking me and my army of undead elite soldiers!
On the second thought, this isn't quite going to cut it.
Die, you fucking scums!
As I'm about to ascend, I'll take you with me. This is for me and my fucking dead companions. I fucking love this game. 10 out of 10.